not only taking the solo turret, getting a massive CS advantage, but moving around the map and really dominating, picking up kills left and right.
We saw him picking up those extra kills onto isolated targets like Matt, like Piglet. He was constantly punishing errors from Liquid. And then in the team fights, he was the one going after Double Lift. He was the huge threat.
Yeah, he was really massive. And going into game 3 here, Liquid needs to kind of reset, find a way to take this game off TSM. It's now a best of 1. Yeah, this game is for all the marbles.
Past 2 games are in the books. This is the one that's actually going to determine who walks away with the win here. Shen and Malzahar banned away by Liquid. TSM taking Graves and Olaf off the table, targeting Reignover.
It's just such a big game for TL as an organization, because if you lose this game, you are in the relegation tournament. And for them to be facing relegation with how much they've invested into their squad is certainly a frightening prospect for the TL owners and for their management and for the team as well.
Yeah, for everybody involved, relegation is not a word that you want to have in your vocabulary, but Team Liquid has probably the toughest possible opponent for avoiding that. Like, they're not getting some sort of, it's like we heard from Double Lift earlier, it's not some middle of the pack team that you're saying, okay, if we step up a little bit, I think we can take them. This is TSM. This is a team that's 14-2 when you're 4-12.
Yeah, it's definitely rough. That said, they are getting the Lulu. They can look towards a protected Double Lift type comp, already having this, and I really want to see Piglet off the Taliyah. The Taliyah now, okay, I'll give him the first game. It didn't work the first game. It didn't work the second game. He did not look good on it whatsoever. He's losing lane even in the early levels to Vladimir, which is where you should have that advantage, and he just does not seem to be super comfortable on the champion.
Yeah, they need to have Piglet on something that's gonna have much more of an impact. We can't afford to have this just be the Double Lift show and everybody else is sort of showing up to the party.
Or, I mean, if you're not gonna be able to have a high impact on a champion like that, then you need to be able to play something more supportive. To take a back seat and play, you know, Orianna, who has a more supportive role, you know, with the shielding, or even something like Karma mid, which has been taken away, but still, there are some kind of more supportive champions.
Well, Lulu, Kha'Zix, and Nautilus picked up for Liquid as Team SoloMid juggling around between a couple different picks, and they are going to pick up Vladimir for Bjergsen again.
It makes a lot of sense. He did very well on it in game 2, and you know, Piglet did not really look like he was able to deal with it. So Piglet is going to have to show us something new, show us that he can actually answer this pick and match up to Bjergsen.
Well, let's see what they decide to ban away here in the second phase. Cassiopeia removed by TSM. Renekton going to be banned away by Liquid. They saw what Haunter did in that second game. They are not willing to have a repeat happen.
Especially in the same matchup, right? This is going to be that Nautilus top. Reignover has moved on to a different champion. I'm surprised to see him bypassing the Gragas, though. I just feel like he's quite solid on that champion. And Gragas is so good in the meta, but he must just be worried about the actual 1v1 dueling type potential against someone like a Rengar who can invade and get very aggressive.
I mean, I guess so, but Reignover, Assassins just haven't been what clicks for him. It's never been his traditional, like, this is what I'm going to play, this is going to be my carry type champion. Banning away the Graves and the Olaf has been very effective for TSM. They're just going to continue going with that plan when they're up against Liquid. Game number 1 was just sort of a learning experience for them in terms of picks and bans, and they recognized where the mistake was with that Olaf being allowed through. Now, Caitlyn, the final ban for TSM this game.
Will they go back to the Ashe for the 3rd straight time for TSM, or will they try to take away the Ezreal, you know, put Double Lift on something a little bit different, give Turtle a different side of the matchup?
Wild Turtle can't want to play the Ashe into Ezreal matchup a 3rd time in a row. It's gone terribly for him the first 2 games. You gotta think that they want to change things up here a little bit, or if maybe they do keep it the same. Maybe they want the Enchanted Crystal Arrow saying, look, we think Turtle's going to lose lane, so put him on something that it's always going to have an impact, even if he does.
So Maokai, TSM back in full effect here. We have seen Haunter perform on this champion so many times. It's Taliyah again. I'm actually just so surprised that we're seeing this matchup run back after it went so poorly last game and so poorly in a different matchup the first game.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point that resonates the most with me, is it's not just the fact that it went poorly in both games. It's the fact that it's a repeat matchup. It's just, this doesn't seem like the most sound decision from Liquid, but maybe Piglet's got some sort of a secret. We'll have to see. They do lock in the Ezreal for Double Lift, though. 3rd game in a row, he's going to be playing that one.
Certainly will. We may still not get the Ashe for TSM, and I am getting a correction that Team Liquid, there are still scenarios in which they can avoid relegation, avoid that tournament if they do lose here today.
There's still some options, some ways out, but the thing is, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Azale, the whole, is your destiny your own, or do you have to depend on others to get you where you need to go? And for TSM, when you're number one, you make all the shots. If you lose, it's on you. But for Team Liquid's spot, it actually depends on if other teams that they have nothing to do with win or lose. And that can be a very frustrating situation when you lose all sense of agency and you're like, okay, it's up to them whether we go to relegations or not.
Yeah, you definitely want to be in control of your own destiny. And TSM just going to run it back on the Ashe. Third time's the charm here for Turtle. Has not been having a good day in lane. And it is that Lulu Ezreal, which works so well in the early stages. If Reignover can have more early effectiveness, as he did in Game 1, we could see Team Liquid, get something going. But it's really dependent on that because I don't think that the lanes individually are strong enough for TL to actually create their own advantages, in the mid lane, especially in the top lane and mid lane, without that jungle help.
Plus, if TSM goes off like they did in game number 2, you're going to have Rengar, you're going to have Vladimir, and you're going to have Maokai all gunning for double lift. That's a tall order. Even with a Lulu, that's going to be hard to survive. I mean, we saw what happened in game number 2. Double Lift tried to 1v1 man fight against Bjergsen, and there's just no way you can do it.
Yeah, definitely not, especially from the position that those two players were in. Vladimir was so far ahead at that point. And we know Svenskeren loves to count for top lane, for mid lane, has such a big impact in the top side of the map that you have to be able to match that or create pressure elsewhere.
Dude, you can feel the energy in the battle theater right now. The fans are excited. They're ready to go for game number 3. So are the players. We are hopping on to Summoner's Rift for the final time in this when the TSM chants clamor through the room. And the players are about to head off the spawn platforms in what is going to be a fateful game for both teams, but only one can walk away with the win.
Certainly true. And actually, interesting to see Piglet go with the Dark Seal start here too. We did see that from Bjergsen last time, but mostly people would want to go for a Doran's Ring, have the extra mana regen on the Taliyah. I do think that being able to shove in your opponent early is extremely important in a matchup like this. The threaded volley, that Q, can allow you to have strong early shove. And Bjergsen, on the Vladimir, your wave clear is pretty abysmal in the early stages, and honestly for quite some time until you get some levels, till you get some rank ups and some CDR. So we need to see Piglet actually have success where his champion is supposed to be winning.
Yeah, we criticized him a lot last game for not being able to shove in early, for being up against a Vladimir that has a long cooldown transfusion, that has a Tides of Blood that doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, if you're down 20 CS before Bjergsen has even hit like level 9 in these sorts of breakpoints where Vladimir can start to fight back, you're in for a tough game.
Well, Piglet's definitely got to step up now. No more room for error. No more time to be like, okay, somebody else will carry.
Now, Piglet's trying to steal away one of the little wraiths again. Bjergsen is there to block. They have set up these saplings to try to get Sven a super easy level 2. And we'll see if Bjergsen can actually keep him away. He was able to do it when he was playing Ahri previously. This time may not be so lucky.
Piglet works his way over. The ward's going to spot out the chickens, and Bjergsen zones away properly. He eats a little bit of damage for it, but Sven is not going to be impeded.
Yeah, not at all. And it's worth that trade for Vladimir because he was able to get a little bit of damage back anyway. And you definitely want to make sure that your jungler is getting that fast level 2.
Bjergsen doing a good job hiding behind those rain minions, making sure ranged minions, the threaded volley, not going to be able to go through those. As Matt and Double Lift finding some damage onto Biofrost. Yeah, really taking the bad end of some of these trades.
Yeah, Bio already relatively low there, starting to chug pots. They do have the push. That's something going for them. Ashe, very proficient at getting those early pushes going. That's why so many people considered her a strong laner. And back in the lethality days, that was kind of the origins of the longsword 3-pot start, was because people considered Ashe such a strong laner that you needed the extra sustain to deal with.
That is going to be another difference between these two 80 carries that we saw before. Longsword 3-pots versus the Doran's Blade with the single potion, so a lot more sustain for Wild Turtle. Also going to be seeing the Summoner spell difference in supports again. Matt with the Ignite, Biofrost with the Exhaust. But this time in the mid lane, Piglet has gone for the Ignite himself to match Bjergsen's.
Yeah, not going for the Ghost like he did last time. I think that the Ignite makes a lot of sense against the Vladimir, and it's something where you at least have some sort of kill potential. If you can hit your combos. Really nice Q there, actually, from Matt, hitting the Glitter Lance with that help picks, able to land it on one and then kind of get a double hit with some nice aiming.
You can make some interesting angles with that. That's one of the things that's always kind of fun to see with players who know a lot about Lulu, who play a lot of Lulu.
It reminds me a little bit of watching the really good Vel'Koz players, how they can kind of manipulate
the trigonometry
on
laser?
Vel'Koz.
Yeah.
So I always think that's super cool, and this is kind of somewhat similar to that. Lulu certainly does have a relatively high skill cap with the ability to use most of your options offensively and defensively. You have to make sure you're always making the right choice.
Matt's going to need to be on point with those choices in this third match. Doublelift so far has just been the man with the plan, the guy that you got to depend on if you want to make something happen here. Eyes still on Piglet, though, to have more of an impact, not just with being able to have his presence in lane, not just with actually shoving into Bjergsen, but don't forget, he's constantly picking this champion that you said it last game, Azael. You don't have a combat ultimate. You need to roam. You need to get around the map, and he can't afford to just be sitting here in mid lane all game again.
He really just hasn't been able to get anything going as far as the roams go. One nice thing for TL, though, they do have a good matchup in top side. Nautilus into Maokai is certainly a winning lane now. It already was before, but it's even worse for the Maokai at this point. Since the sapling nerf, the initial sapling hit doesn't do damage, so your wave clear is worse. And Lorlo, he's not going to be the one getting bullied by this Renekton, so they could look to Lorlo to kind of lend them some more strength, even if Piglet isn't doing as well.
Lorlo having a much better matchup against the Maokai than he did against the Renekton. Ahead in CS as opposed to dangerously behind. Also not going to be nearly as much kill threat.
Ooh, Piglet early roam to bot side. Can he actually hit the seismic shove? That's going to be key if he goes for it.
No, Turtle and Biofrost, they smell something funny going on. They're not going to be walking forward into that one. Piglet at least making the attempts, though. Making the effort to get down into the other lanes and find the rotation.
And one of the nice things about Taliyah is when you're hugged up against the wall, you actually get additional move speed. So being able to move back and forth on this champion is a little bit easier thanks to that rock surfing.
Dead even in terms of gold this game, though, as Bjergsen's looking to change that right now. Spenskeren making his way into the fight, too. Piglet going to be first-blooded as Bjergsen puts himself on the board.
Once again, they're able to get that early kill here onto Piglet. Just cannot seem to hold up in these matchups and getting a lot of jungle attention. Rainover's not there in time. Down goes the mid laner.
Mid laner off the board for a couple of more seconds, and that's such a feels bad for Piglet because this is the game, like, you're picking the champion that you've performed poorly on the first two games. The fact that you're picking this again shows that you've got to have something planned, and that wasn't it.
Yeah, especially because you're, once again, giving that first blood not only over to the other team, but to your laner. Bjergsen actually got that for himself, which can help him to get that snowball rolling, and you expended your flash, which means that Svenskeren can come back at level 6. Hauntzer can rotate down very easily to set up dives on you. It's so easy to attack this Taliyah again from this sort of situation.
Piglet needs to be aware of that. Got to make sure that he doesn't fall any further behind than he already is. TSM really capitalizing on this new mid laner for Team Liquid, capitalizing on his weaknesses as someone who's not super familiar with the role. And I mean, you're up against Bjergsen. You're not up against somebody who's like even a middle of the pack mid laner. This is a top tier guy, and you're just getting hit for every single thing that goes wrong. It's a hard hand to be dealt.
It really is, and both junglers moving down here to the bot side. Doublelift has already based, so he has a buy. In comes Svenskeren.
Doublelift trying to get himself back. Rainover trying to make the fight happen. He's level 6, has to get himself away with the Void Assault.
Sven can just keep chasing.
Flash comes out from Rainover. Svenskeren still going after this one. Fight finally fizzles out. But Team Liquid, they had the edge in terms of their jungler having the ultimate and Svenskeren not, but they still couldn't make anything happen there.
Yeah, it's a big win for TSM. They get both flashes. Yes, they do use the heal and exhaust, but those are much shorter cooldown. So Rainover going to be that much more vulnerable. And as Svenskeren hits 6, we're going to have to see where he wants to go, because you could certainly look to attack someone like Doublelift when he's flashless.
Piglet staying a little bit closer in farm this game than we saw things get to last time around.
Here it comes.
Now he's going to be jumped on again. Can't get himself away. Bjergsen and Svenskeren will grab this kill. Easy peasy. 1, 2, 3Z. Svenskeren taking the credit for that one. Yeah, Team Liquid, their mid laner having another rough one.
It's tough, right? And it's super obvious that something like this is going to happen. I even called it out as he went down. If you die before the Rengar is 6 and you blow your flash, you're going to get attacked again. And Piglet did the best that he really could have there. It actually looked like he was able to interrupt Svenskeren's leap is what it seemed like with his ultimate, which is kind of a cool interaction there. Not sure if I did catch that right, but still going to go down regardless, and means he's going to be even further behind. Is stuck building pretty defensively. Going to be so far off building umbrellas or really any sort of offense for himself.
And take a look at bottom lane this time around. Turtle's actually staying caught up in farm. This is the lane that's fallen behind the past couple of games. This is where Liquid has found their way to look for success, finding it in game number 1, but then not quite getting it where they needed to go in game number 2. But this time around, Turtle's really stepping up and not allowing Doublelift to be that far ahead.
Yeah, they're doing a lot better in the bot lane. And Turtle has not even based yet, so we may see him fall a little bit behind in the farm when he does base and the waves get pushed in. But still, it's going to be very close. Doublelift is stacking his Tyr and his Call, so that's something going for him. I think the lane is certainly going fine. But once again, here's a replay, and we'll see if he actually did interrupt that ultimate with his own. I think it did. Yeah. Okay, no. The damage still landed, I guess, on the other side. But still a nice attempt at an escape here from Piglet. Not really any chance to get away, though, when you're flashless.
Team Liquid does grab themselves the first Drake. It's Infernal, too, so that's going to be a big help in trying to keep them in this game. Lorlo losing the trade against Haunter, going right back in, trying to even things out a little bit with the Riptide.
Yeah, the Infernal's certainly nice. But this is not really like a massive amount of people who are going to get a big use out of this.
Right.
Kha'Zix is going to get something from the AD. Obviously, Piglet's going to get AP, but they do not have a carry top laner. And Ezreal generally builds less AD than someone like a Caitlyn or someone who's kind of that pure attack damage type stacking champion, like the Infinity Edge users, because obviously IE has a lot more AD than something like Travelers.
Yeah, you're not going for big crits or anything like that. Instead, you're just playing the poke game as Haunter gets himself smacked around a little bit by Lorlo, who pops the ulti, going all the way in on that fight, forces Haunter back, and he'll go ahead and take the base with that one.
And Haunter forced back to base, but he's doing fine. He's actually up a couple of CS, and the fact that you're not getting killed, not getting really bullied out, means you're doing your job. Because you will certainly outscale the Nautilus, right? And Haunter, I think, has done a very good job in lane and is going to be super effective later. And they could actually set up a dive, on the bot side with the Ranger ultimate and TP available.
Oh, Piglet.
Ooh, nice size
Garen catching him out. Needs a little bit more to find the bolas. Flash away from Piglet. Underneath the turret, going to be safe for now. TSM finally not going to get the kill that they're looking for. Piglet breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief to have gotten away from that one. Does spin the flash again, though, so once more vulnerable.
Yep, once more vulnerable, and Haunter could look to roam down if he wants to. He's going to have the shove on top side with these base timings, and he could look to move down. Bjergsen, either way, doing very well for himself, and another summoner is always going to be a nice trade.
Doublelift, eating both the Inner Flame and the Volley. Not really able to get the Juke Boots laced up in time to step out of the way of those. Low on mana means he's not a very significant threat right now on this Ezreal, so Turtle and Biofrost are just very comfortable sitting where they're at.
Yeah, they're doing well. They actually are dictating the lane finally, and I think that they should in this sort of matchup unless, Doublelift is able to hit so much poke. Because Ashe has more shove. I think that Karma is a stronger laning support than the Lulu as well, so they definitely have the edges, and they're finally making it work for them.
Take a look at the TSM pings coming out on this bottom side as well. They're saying, look, Doublelift and Matt, they're very vulnerable. Doublelift's out of mana. They've got to get back. Let's see if we can do anything. Look at the bottom side of Team Liquid's jungle. It's completely lit up with TSM wards.
And it's so important because that does make it really hard for Piglet to ever try to go for any of those roams. If you're spotted out early, you're almost always going to have time to look for the retreat.
Reignover, he even takes the blast cone over the wall, but he's still spotted out. There's just too much vision to ever be able to work your way around it.
At least able to soak up some of that farm that Doublelift was missing, thanks to his base.
Team Liquid surprised everybody with their victory in game number 1, but it's almost like TSM was just testing the waters with that one after such a strong performance in game number 2, and now game number 3 lending itself towards the same direction early on.
Yeah, TSM has just seemed to struggle so much as far as dropping games to teams that they really shouldn't be dropping games to. And this whole season, they have lost so many game 1s when you look across the year that it's something that they've been trying to improve on. They really do want to level up as far as their consistency goes and make sure that they're not giving away free games to teams like this, because when you see TSM in game 2 and even in game 3 here, they look like a so much better team that they shouldn't really be losing if they're playing on form.
Yeah, the gameplay between, if you compare TSM Game 1 with TSM Game 2, it's like you're watching a whole different squad.
It really is. And that can sometimes just be something where it's a bit of a mental block, where teams have nerves moving up. But here's the roam and the TP coming down from Lorlo.
Weaver's wall thrown out, spin Scarin, forced to try to run away, has no flash available. Reignover going to be bursted, Haunter there into the fight, Reignover going to be killed first, and there goes Sven. Both junglers out of the picture. Biofrost now getting slammed around by Lorlo in the back line. Bjergsen the target. Lorlo's found himself alone pretty quickly, though. Got to be careful about going too much deeper onto this one, trying to get himself back to the tier 2. Barely getting away for now. The shield comes out.
Turtle
should
on the
keep
side.
Him alive. Doublelift having a heal just to escape Bjergsen. And TSM forces their opponents back, blinking health bars all over the place, but 1 for 1.
There's a trade of kills, but TSM could look to try to go for the first turret on bot side, and I think that's exactly what they will do. That would get them a much bigger advantage off this play.
Absolutely. Turret first blood still on the board means it's just going to be that much more valuable. Turtle and Biofrost will remain in the lane. Bjergsen's going to stick around just to make sure they get it. They don't want to miss out on this accidentally and not have enough damage, so Bjergsen will help put that one in there, and the first turret is down.
Yeah, Bjergsen wants to share the local goal. He's
Yeah.
like, let me just confirm
Like,
this
hey,
turret kill for you.
You guys might not get this. I'm here to help. TSM 17-7 this spring when they get the first turret, so it's a not too shabby record.
It's looking good, and it's a good sign that the bot lane is doing well because the solo lanes are doing well as always for TSM. Here's the play again, and I think it's a good attempt to be able to make something happen, but they are pretty far behind. Pots are coming in on the TP. Bjergsen is so much stronger in this situation because Piglet really had no mana. So he's able to get a little bit of damage out of the start, but in the extended fight, if you looked at the mana on Matt, he was zoomed, Doublelift is low, Piglet is out of mana, there's just not much staying power. So they can't even really retaliate, and the best they could hope to do was just escaping with their lives after that initial trade of kills.
And at the very end, Doublelift forced to blow both summoner spells to get away from Bjergsen. So just a little bit of extra icing on the cake to make that really come out in TSM's favor. Now up 3,000 gold with the turret first blood having gone into their pockets. Drake spawning for the second time here in about 5 seconds. TSM hanging around the area, not wanting to give this one away.
And Bjergsen is at a very strong point, having the rank 2 ultimate, having that proto belt and some CDR on him. They certainly will be looking to zero someone out. The Turtle probably going down.
Getting caught out. Turtle in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Rainover grabs one for Team Liquid. Been scaring popping the ulti though. Biofrost looking to keep him in position. The turret is not here to hide
Nice
behind the
knock-up.
Lorlo's able to show up. They might be able to turn this one around. Spin scaring going to be taken low. Rainover trying to fight it. Not able to find the kill just yet. Bjergsen in the back line on towards Matt. Rainover grabbing the kill onto Spin. Bjerg going to be going down
Looking
next.
good for TL.
Ops are now in a really sour spot. Trying to tank as long as he can. Doublelift not going to go too close. Just contributing Mystic shots. More damage coming in. A nice inner flame. Going to be finding one. Almost grabbing two. It's a 3 for 1 for Team Liquid.
Yeah, TL out of nowhere able to pick up that fight thanks to a pick on Turtle, and that was so big for them, eliminating that first player, and now maybe able to grab
Piglet getting his positioning, and Bio
almost back.
Flash the wall. Bio down. Turtle hanging around, can't quite get vengeance for that one, and Liquid's gonna pick up yet another kill on the back end.
They're gonna close this game right up with this play. So well done. Rainover and Doublelift making the initial play happen, then the whole team piling down, and they played it very well, bouncing around on low HP, able to survive, and this is the initial pick. Doublelift out of the brush, hits his ultimate. It's an easy kill. Turtle was always gonna go down. Nicely trading back on Doublelift, but Doublelift played this very smart. He's playing so far back. I think that a lot of credit goes to Matt here. Really well-timed ultimate, knocking up Sven, giving Doublelift some space, because him staying up means he can always contribute from long range. And Doublelift staying back from Bjergsen, really creating space there. And all the damage that's being poured out of Piglet and Matt and Lorlo onto Bjergsen meant they just didn't really have anyone there. And I think the only mistake here is really Rainover has no need to come in for this kill. He's very low on health, and with the ultimate pop from Maokai, he was always going to get low. Probably could have let his teammates finish that one off.
And Bjergsen didn't even get the ultimate off in that fight. You can see that as he was dead, the Emo Plague was still available to cast. TSM now going to have their mid laner juggled around a little bit. Piglet backing himself away. Piglet having contributed to 4 kills out of the 6 for Team Liquid this game, so making sure he's getting himself involved. Bit of an odd choice with the atomization. Abyssal Scepter first. Resisting some of the magic damage coming out from the enemy solo laners, also from the Karma, but
yeah,
usually not the first item you see completed.
There's been a lot of talk about whether this is a good starting item or not. Most people are landing on no. This Biofrost may get picked and is going to go down.
Oh, the bot lane for TSM. 2 back-to-back picks is Piglet
Rip
now.
Piglet.
Yeah, that's going to be the answer. Bjergsen grabbing a free one onto him.
Yeah, but still, TL going to be able to push for the top lane turret. Should be able to grab that up pretty easily. TSM going to try to return the favor and at least shove in mid, but Vladimir is not a turret killer. He's not going to be able to knock that down very quickly, and Lorlo already there to pick up farm.
Yeah, with Lorlo hanging around, I mean, he's pure magic resistance at this point. Mercury Treads working on the Spirit Visage as well. There's just no way you're going to actually remove him as a threat as the Vlad.
And that's one thing that's really nice when you're laning against a team that has 2 solo laners with the same type of damage, right? It's both AP top lane and AP mid lane. That means that you can very easily itemize kind of with confidence against both those players. And it can be very helpful because something that a lot of teams like to pull off is, you stack armor against a Renekton, then they rotate their AP mid laner up to you and your itemization is kind of worthless.
Yeah, you can't do anything if you've got a Sunfire cape and you're having to deal with somebody just constantly hammering you with spells, some kind of Syndra or something like that. But in this game, it's very fortunate for Lorlo, who has now just completed that Spirit Visage. Haunter has done the same because the double AP comp is the story for both teams. So both these tanks have that option, have that opportunity. Piglet getting himself back towards the safety of his teammates that happen to be hanging around nearby to make sure that he's not going to get in any more solo trouble. Matt taking a little bit of damage. Haunter jumping right in onto this one. There's another fight happening in the enemy jungle as well. Rengar ultimate pops. Finskaran looking to close in. Over the wall goes Bjergsen, and into the dirt goes Rainover. 2 kills go the way of TSM.
Yeah, Matt dying on the other side of the map as well. TSM winning across the map there. Matt kind of wandering up with really not enough support to be there. You need to be paired up with your jungler oftentimes when fighting for that vision. Piglet just going to throw down that Weaver wall, trying to defend the mid lane turret. Actually, pretty good usage of it. Yeah,
buying as much time as he can, clumping all the minions up to throw the threaded volley in, keeps this tier 1 protected, doesn't allow TSM to actually find an initial, or a subsequent victory after the initial pick.
Yeah, that said, top lane is being pushed in by Bjergsen. He's getting very strong. He's in the solo lanes again, picking up the experience, picking up the gold, and slowly working away on that turret. I probably won't take it down, but setting it up to be killed off perhaps later. Now they're just going to take it up, I guess, try to kill it.
They may have the damage. Doublelift shows up, but the final auto attack from Bjergsen will seal the deal. Doublelift aggressively shifting forward. Hemoplague going to be used in retaliation. Bjergsen looking to fight this one if he has to. Hemoplague heals him back up. Doublelift still chasing after this.
Yeah, I mean, the whole team is coming up. Rengar is not there, but we do see Kha'Zix coming up. We see Talia up here. Can he land the show?
More players from both teams trying to make this fight happen. Finskaran now might be in some danger. Biofrost going to be taken low. Wild Growth on the Piglet. Bjergsen wants to get right back into the fight. TP going to be canceled. Haunter with no way into the fight. He's actually going to be stuck fighting Lorlo in the river as Team Liquid backs away.
Yeah, Lorlo able to interrupt that. Nicely done by him. That was critical to keeping them alive in that fight. And TSM does disengage, still getting the turret. Was close to them going down. And well, this is what we all love to watch.
This is what we like, Azale. Lots of fights,
high
lots of
action, high intensity.
High octane League of Legends, baby.
Any champion could die on a moment's notice.
And that's the fun part. All right, but if
or perhaps 5 minutes notice.
Or, yeah, they might take it easy for a little while, but then again, there's some aggressive players in this game, and you've got Piglet, and you've got Doublelift, and you've got Bjergsen, you've got all these guys who can make plays and do these flashy show-off type moves. You want to see them show it off.
They definitely do. And I think that Doublelift, as he hits that Trinity Force, will be in a more comfortable position to try to show some of that off, to try to get aggressive here. One thing I would like to see is some itemization towards actually denying Bjergsen of all this healing, especially because there's a Maokai as well. I think that you need to pick up that Extinguisher's Calling quite early as the Ezreal, especially because your mid laner has no Morellos, you have no healing debuffs across the team at all. Against a Maokai, incredible amounts of healing. And Vladimir, incredible amounts of healing, plus lifesteal on the Ashe, and that's something that you can't ignore. You need to itemize against that, or you're going to be so much less effective, and it's such a cheap item.
Yeah, it's 800 gold, I believe, for Executioner's Calling. Yep. It's really not that much of an investment for how much value you'll get out of it in the team fights.
And I think if Doublelift doesn't buy it next, I can understand delaying it to complete the Trinity Force, but if you do not buy it as your next item, I think that is objectively a pretty big mistake.
I have to see what decision he decides to go with on that one. With the core completed, the Muramana just now evolving. That means that he is free to pursue whichever option that he believes is most imperative. Executioner's Calling would definitely not be a bad one. The armor penetration that you would get by completing it into the Mortal Reminder as well would start to be important, considering you've now got Iceborne Gauntlet on Haunter, so it's going to be harder and harder to blast that front line.
Oh god, they're on Baron. TSM may not know this, and it's going down so fast with the Kha'Zix, they're just going to get this for free. Yeah, TSM has no idea.
They're not hitting the blue ward. They don't want to give it away. The Hawk shot's fired off. Liquid still got to put a little bit more work into this.
It's down, but
so low, they got it. Now, can they get away? TSM not going to collapse on this one. Liquid sneaks the Baron.
Wow, nice call there from Liquid. Gutsy play, they get it. TSM will trade back a turret, but that's no skin off your teeth for TL. They can push up mid here and look to collect a lot of gold.
Yeah, T1 turret for a Baron. Take that trade any day if you're Team Liquid. as TSM works their way over towards Cloud Drake. This is the third elemental spawning this game, the third different type, and TSM not really going to have any problem, any contest from their opponents in taking this one away. They grabbed that one for themselves, but now they've got to deal with a Baroned up Team Liquid. They've got to figure out a way to deal with this.
That said, Lorlo is down here, and all of TSM is here. They're looking for the pick on him.
Arrow shot off.
Oh,
There comes
nicely
the
done by
Spider-Man
Lorlo.
moved away. Lorlo trying to keep himself alive. Going to be buying as much time as he can. Haunts are locked down underneath the turret. Driving the aggro, but it's Turtle, who's now going to be shot almost all the way down. Lorlo
Bjergsen
still
is in
keeping
trouble
himself
now.
alive. Bjergsen alone behind enemy lines, going to be taken down. Rainover's got the kill.
And TL is pushing in 2 lanes. They survive on the bot side. Great play from Lorlo. And Piglet is pushing mid. Doublelift is pushing top. They're collecting gold. And TL are in this game. They're looking good in Turtle.
Turtle might be caught out. Gotta see if he can get away from this one. Haunts are providing the covering fire, getting him away to safety, but Doublelift has the tier 2 in the top lane.
They don't even have to kill him. Just delaying the backs is allowing them so much time. And now Piglet moving down does have Weaver's Wall. Does not have it just quite yet. I could look for a
Wants
pick.
to cut this off if he can. No Weaver's Wall available. Turtle gonna be taken low. Rainover right there into the fight. Gonna be killing himself instead. Piglet now forced to flash over the wall. TSM with the counterattack. Matt's gonna be going down next. Haunter with the damage, but Doublelift is in the base. Scarin and Haunter will take down Piglet. It's a 3-for-0 TSM, and Doublelift is repelled at the same time.
Yeah, not able to get that in. The continued chase to delay the backs makes sense, but once Rainover is very low and you realize Piglet doesn't have ultimate, the chase does not, you gotta stop, right?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta stop at some point.
It's time to stop.
They're going in, and yes, Turtle is pretty low, but he has some defense. If you can't kill off that AD carry, he's gonna be able to turn down a lot of damage on you, and that's what ends up happening. Still, TL clean up a lot of objectives, but they don't actually crack the inhibitor, and that's a key point. And looking at this situation, right? You're moving forward into a full HP Maokai. Yes, Turtle is low, but he has protection, and they needed to bail out a little bit earlier because this would have been so good for them if they could have actually delayed like this without sacrificing their lives.
And that's one thing that you actually see happen a lot with teams that are lower in the rankings for LCS is they'll have a moment like that where their opponents make a throw type of play, like what TSM did in the bottom lane, and then they'll just get too hyphy off of that momentum, off of that swing, and they'll throw it right back.
Yeah, I think the initial play was great. I think that just the follow-up execution wasn't there. They just needed to be able to know when to call that off and when to kind of cut their losses and say, hey, you know what? Turtle's gone. Would have liked to get the kill. Couldn't, but we got all these turrets across the map. And even Piglet could have just stayed mid lane and continued to push in for more turret damage.
A little bit of an update on Doublelift's build that we were talking about earlier, going for the Blade of the Ruined King as his next item. Now, granted, there is a lot of health being built on the side of TSM, so...
I mean, Blade of the Ruined King is a great item. I have no problem with that being your next item completion, but I do have a problem with the fact there's no healing debuff really on the team. Besides, you have Ignites, but I just don't think it's consistent enough. You want to always have those healing debuffs up because Vladimir can heal for insane amounts in these team fights, and just having that one application of the Extinguisher's Calling can mean the difference between an insane transfusion, going you back, ready to back up to full, or keeping him low and finishing him off.
Lorlo in the 1v1 against Bjergsen up here on the top side. Bjergsen, there's that healing you were talking about, though. Look at how fast he just jumps right back up to 3/4 HP.
Yeah, and especially with the ultimate in a team fight, you apply your ultimate to multiple people, so you get even more healing back from that. And Haunter's healing a lot as well. I mean, you're going to see at the end of the game, their healing numbers are nothing to laugh at.
Baron power play, though. 3,000, almost 3,400 gold. So definitely what Liquid needed to get themselves back in this game.
Yeah. I mean, they're in a decent spot, right? Like, they're certainly in a spot where they could win from. Obviously, ideally, you would want more of the gold on the Ezreal, I think. But they're still in a strong spot. They have Lulu, they have protection, good team fight, but so does TSM. And if TSM can set up the proper flank, the proper engage with the Vladimir, Maokai, Rengar combo, you can delete Doublelift very, very quickly.
Doublelift 0-0-3 this game, so not exactly the hard carry score that they were hoping with. They were hoping for with him. But that being said, there are a lot of kills on Rainover's Kha'Zix. We talked a little bit about how we were kind of surprised to see this, expecting something more along the lines of a Gragas, but Rainover's been making things happen with it this time.
Yeah, and it's not like he can't play the champions. I just think that others suit his style more, right?
Right, absolutely.
All of these players at the professional level can still have great games on these sorts of champions. And Rainover is one of the best junglers in the league. He certainly does still have his times on the Kha'Zix, but in general, he's always been more of the tank guy because he's not been like the mechanical outplay type jungler. He's been the one to be in the right place at the right time, to provide utility, to have great warding, and just kind of be that tanky supportive player for his team. That's where he's really shined across the last couple of years.
This game, he's buttoned up the carry pants. Looking to take Team Liquid to the unexpected victory against TSM. A lot of people, if you would have asked them before this series, they would have said it's going to be 2-0. TSM, when you get the #1 team versus one of the bottom teams, that's the expectation. As Rainover fails the jump over the wall, Haunts are going to be eating a lot of damage from Double Lift. That Blade of the Ruined King active, putting a lot of pain now on the tree, flashing back over the wall. Matt going to be killed first. True shot barrage over the wall, makes it 1-for-1. Double Lift going to be taken very low, popping the heel, trying to stay alive. TSM health bar starting to disappear. Rainover jumps into the fight, able to find one, able to find two. Can he make it #3? Biofrost trying to run. Dredge line gonna be up soon. The Void Spikes provide the slow, the Mystic Shot provides the damage, and Lorlo provides the kill.
And they can push right up mid now. The minion wave is already there. There's long res timers on a lot of TSM's members, and TL gets another great fight. They find Lorlo, they're able to get him down. They're gonna get the top lane inhibitor. The question is, can they get 2?
Rainover taking the express route up here, not gonna be waiting on anything, but Bjergsen has shown up. Void Spikes slowing him down to make sure Rainover doesn't really get punished here. Lorlo and Double Lift also still around, but Double Lift has very low mana. Got to keep that in mind. This is not a long, drawn-out situation that Liquid wants to get themselves into. Sven now respawning. Neither inhibitor actually falls.
Yeah, can't get either. So, I mean, they try to go a little bit greedier and grab 2 instead of just all going straight up to that top one. Part of this is because the Baron is spawning, and they want to be in position for that. If you die as that Baron is coming up, it can be a disaster. So this way, at least they're playing it safer. They have enough time to get back and be able to base in time to contest any Baron. TSM don't have the super minions crashing in, though. They don't have to deal with those extra waves, so we're kind of right back to even again. TL has a bit of a gold lead, which is certainly lending to their favor, but they don't really have the map advantage.
TSM is never a team that you can just feel like you've got an advantage against and then say, okay, yeah, we'll just roll this to an easy win. This is a team that's going to punish you if things end up going wrong, and Double Lift, things are going right in his inventory, picking up the Executioner's Calling, saying, you know what, Vlad heals a lot.
Yeah, he's finally got one that is going to help them so much in the team fights, and having QSS, he's going to be safer as well, but Lorlo in trouble.
Speaking of team fights, Lorlo's going to be the one to jump on, but Sven's the one who's caught out. Double Lift, grab the kill, and Liquid!
Rainover in the backline!
Going off! Haunts are going to be brought down next. 2 dead on the side of TSM. Bjergsen going to be pulled right back into the fight. Damage over the wall, Double Lift over the wall.
They can end the game!
Is insane! TSM is going to be clean aced if Bio falls, and Liquid has found 4.
That's it. I think they're going to end the game through top. They have the wave. They can push straight up. We'll see if Biocross can delay enough for Sven to come back up. I mean, there's 20 seconds on the first player remaining. 30 on Bjergsen. It's looking so bad.
The Liquid squad is marching into the TSM base. This could be it. Lorlo on the front line. TSM's Nexus turrets, the first will fall. Bio trying to remove the minions from this, but the Nexus will drop, and what an upset! TSM will fall to Team Liquid 2-1.
Nobody saw it coming, but TL pull off the impossible. So excited about that win, knocking off the #1 team in North America.
Team Liquid needed this win. They're fighting to stay out of relegations. They were put in a situation where everybody said they need a miracle if they want to walk away from this one. Well, these boys are about to turn some water into wine, Azale. That was phenomenal.
And what a statement from Double Lift coming into this series, taking over games on the Ezreal, being so strong in lane. It's got to weigh on your minds. Everyone knows he wants to come back to TSM in the summer split, and that's got to be a tough loss for Turtle.
And even in the game that TSM won, Turtle was the weak link. It was Double Lift who was the one way that Liquid might have had a chance to come back and win that one. Double Lift showed what a top-tier AD carry for North America he is.
Certainly is. He's always been a very strong individual player, and TL, to their credit, across the board, I think played quite well in this last game. It was not the Double Lift show only. Rainover really getting involved in both of their wins. I think he played very strong. Lorlo in this last game, deathless on the Nautilus, moving around, finding a lot of great picks, and being involved in all the team fights was critical. And I think that we saw the power of Lulu here too from Matt, who performed excellently, protected Double Lift, and was really able to be a critical role
And honestly, that's what was missing in game number 2. That's what Team Liquid didn't have to fall back on. You had a Zyra, you had no exhaust. Everything just wasn't there. Doublelift was alone. In game number 3, they went back to what worked in game number 1. They had the Lulu, they had the protection, and Doublelift also not dying the entire match. He and Lorlo in that third game, both just deathless.
Yeah, very,